Tell me, brother, ki what does a regular engineering student don't know about reality of masters?
In Indian engineering colleges, it's like if you don't go to the classes as well for several weeks, it doesn't matter because you just have to cram everything few weeks before the exam and give the exam. But here in masters,
AI have this going on right now. Everywhere you can see, you open your YouTube, you watch videos. AI ये कर रहा है, AI वो कर रहा है, AI is able to do all the DSA. Then you ask yourself, why do you even need to learn DSA?
yeah, you mentioned getting demotivated to do programming because AI is gonna take up all the programming jobs. Well, that's actually true. AI will take up all the programming
I
jobs.
knew it. I knew it.
A company doesn't pay you for coding. A company pays software engineers to make decisions. Nobody cares as long as you're getting the problem solved.
If you're like a middle class guy who wants to go to US, should you aim for Harvard, Stanford, and all these big universities, or should you go for like the other universities that you have, the other options? I went to a meetup recently, जहाँ पे the creators meetup was around how to go to US, how to get a job, and all that sort of stuff as a student. And 99%, like literally 99%, चलो 99 बहुत exaggeration हो गया, 80% बोलते चलो, 80% of the students, when I talk to them, they were like, I am doing this because my friends do it and my parents are telling me to do it, and it would probably look cool for me to go to US because of that lifestyle and all those things. If only I have a software job, I can be at a place like Silicon Valley, or else I can be a video editor, or let's say a graphic designer, and still go to Silicon Valley without any degree, without any intent of degree. Can I still go to US and just stay there?
One thing is that if you're struggling to get a job in India, you're going to struggle there as well. There's no doubt. It's just up to you whether you want to struggle here or you want to struggle there. Doing a master's in the US is that the job market is unpredictable. Layoffs are very real and very true. You might get laid off at any point in time, and then you might have a limited amount of time to search for a job.
What do you say? What do you say? Will I get a good college if I apply for masters in USA, as my parents want me to? So let's begin with your journey, bhai. Syed Mujtaba bhai. How did you start as a student? कैसे थे आप? Like
Yeah, so joined PICT Pune back in 2018 after my 12th and JEE and everything. I joined PICT Pune for a bachelor's in IT, and I was there from 2018 to 2022. So out of those 4 years, I think around almost 2 years were taken by COVID. So part of my degree was completed online. So, but luckily, by the time I was in final year, I got to get back to campus and spend some time on campus as well. And I think during undergrad, my main, motive was to get a job basically because I wanted to see the world value my skills or not. Most of the time, that was my priority, and that's how I prioritize things as well. So data structures and algorithms was really important to clear interviews, and I did for most of my initial part of my undergrad. And once I got to a good point in data structures and algorithms, I shifted my focus towards actual development projects. I got into backend, front end, a little bit of DevOps, figured out what I really like in development, do internships. I graduated in 2022. And then I worked for 2 years remotely at Trilogy Innovations. Learned a lot of cloud computing there and figured out that this was my passion.
This was an Indian-based company?
Not really. So the company is US-based, but they do hire remote employees across the globe. I was part of a remote workforce.
Got it. So you're roughly around 24, 25 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Continue.
So around 2 years of working at Trilogy, and then I applied for masters, gave the GRE, applied to multiple universities, and then moved to the US for my masters. And I just completed the first quarter of my degree. That is the first 3 months, and then here I am in the winter break after the first quarter.
Okay, so you have completed your first quarter, and right now holidays, Christmas ke holidays maybe. That's what's going on right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am a total layman when it comes to terms like this masters, US, and what is all is going on in this side of the world. Okay, so it's going to be more around my questions where I try to like understand कैसे चलता है ये side का दुनिया.
Yeah. Sure thing.
Got it. So like let's start with more पीछे जाते हैं. Where are you from, bhai?
I am from Mumbai.
You're from Mumbai. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So for context, like मेरे दादा दादी like are from Mumbai. So I go to Mumbai every like Navi Mumbai particularly.
Yeah.
Seawoods type का area. So I with my experience about Mumbai is that हर summer में I used to go to Mumbai. I used to basically क्या होता था ना मुंबई में जाके your aspirations increase. So
Right.
I am originally from a district called as Adilabad in Telangana. And I used to go to Mumbai every summer holidays. और जब भी I go to Mumbai, my level of thinking used to increase. Oh, I used to be like, oh ये भी हो सकता है दुनिया में, like ये भी चलता है. एंड मुझे नई चीज़ें पता चलती थी मुंबई एंड दुनिया के बारे में बेसिकली. एंड देन वो चीज़ें स्लोली स्लोली यहाँ पे भी आने लगी. एंड व्हेन इंटरनेट केम वी अंडरस्टूड व्हाट इज गूगल. गूगल करना सीखे थे पहली बार. वी अंडरस्टूड कैसे like you can actually learn things online, and that is how it started. Let's say I'm pursuing my engineering right. अभी मैं third year में हूँ. I'm going to enter my 3-2. Okay, so talking about coding and whole this software engineering side of career, my point of view was from first year कि AI आया था तभी ChatGPT came in November 2022 if I remember.
And you were in second year at that time or
I
first
was in
year?
my first year, so 1-2 it was वैसा कुछ चल रहा था. And I was very very obsessed with coding. I bought Let Us See के books from Connector, and I was reading like the manuals and documentations पढ़ रहा था, papers थोड़े से पढ़ रहा था. I was watching all that content, and my theory was चलो अब तो coding ही करना है. First year में I was there. But then जब ChatGPT came, I started realizing, I started watching content भी कि code पूरा automate हो रहा है, कि AI is there and it's about to take all the jobs, you know. तो जो hype होता है वो वाला जो hype है कि AI is coming, coders are going to be relevant. and मुझे भी when I do coding के projects, I felt कि जो भी मैं projects बना रहा था, I felt कि bro this is already available on YouTube. I'm just doing the same copy paste and learning. And college में भी कुछ इतना like you know next level up to date relevant. You know how Indian engineering colleges are in majority of the cases like everyone goes through this, everyone.
Yeah.
And I sort of lost my interest from coding because like for me coding is fun as an activity in general, but when it comes to कि तुम project बना रहे हो फिर तुम काम कर रहे हो किसी के साथ में, that I feel कि AI ही job ले लेगा. That is my point of view. Now I wanted to understand कि why are you convinced with this profession? Like आप बचपन से ही coding में हो या फिर you are been doing this just after engineering?
Yeah. So I was introduced to programming after I joined college. I didn't have any programming background before that. And yeah, you mentioned Let Us See by Yashwant Connector. That also happened to be the first book I read to learn about programming. Like before that book, I tried to learn Java, and that was super hard. But then once I actually read that book, the concept became very clear to me. That's an amazing book for learning C. Yeah. So I think I was introduced to ChatGPT when I was at Trilogy, and the way in which I was introduced to it was, hey, this is this amazing tool, and what can we do for our customers using this tool, and how can we leverage this to make products? So I would say my experience with this ChatGPT hype is very different from yours. That's interesting to see. You mentioned getting demotivated to do programming because AI is going to take up all the programming jobs. Well, that's actually true. AI will take up all the programming jobs.
I knew it.
But there's a distinction between programming and software engineering.
Correct.
Right? A company doesn't pay you for coding. A company pays software engineers to make decisions, to make the right decisions.
Got it.
Right? So whether you do that by yourself, whether you do the programming part by yourself, or you use a code generator, you use ChatGPT or AI or any kind of tool, nobody cares as long as you're getting the problem solved, right? What really matters is decision making, and AI is nowhere close to that. Decision making and communicating with humans, reading their emotions, dealing with multiple teams. These are very very complex things that we kind of overlook, but these are very integral parts of our lives. Yeah, I'm not going to take that.
It makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I never thought coding in just a point of view of decision making, जैसे आप बता रहे हो. I
Yeah.
just thought it like an job जो सीखते हैं करते हैं and that you get an output like most of us do. But I've seen your LinkedIn profile, and for anyone who opens your LinkedIn profile, they will understand the level of technologies that you're involved in. Like you're working with multiple technologies, right? Like Kubernetes, Gen AI, and all the stuff that you've mentioned on LinkedIn. Do you want to share your like expertise and journey with all these things, and why are you learning all of these things in general?
Yeah, I think part of it was just riding the hype kind of thing that just happened with me. Like, for example, when I was in final year, I already had a full time offer, and I had a lot of free time because of the lockdown, right? Because of the COVID lockdown, and then at that time, the crypto was at an all time high, and there was a big hype around crypto. A lot of crypto companies were hiring, and I
So,
just
so this was in 2021, I guess.
yeah, in 2021.
तो तभी
So
रिसेशन ऐसा कुछ चल रहा था क्या, like jobs are not available in software and that at
At
that
that
time?
time, at that time, the market was at an all-time high because
Oh,
everyone was at home and using software, leveraging like everyone was using software like anything. Everyone wanted to use Netflix. Everyone wanted to use Google's products. All the tech companies were hiring a lot back then.
so this is right before, like 1 year before ChatGPT came.
Yeah. This is like more than a year before ChatGPT came. I think the crash happened after the lockdown and everything ended and the world returned back to normal. That's when suddenly the demand started falling, and then that's when the great layoffs
And that's
happened.
when I joined engineering, and that's when I lost interest.
Yeah, I think you joined at a really odd time, and I would say that don't get demoralized by what's going on with the AI space, and don't even, I would say, when you are trying to work on programs, especially when you're doing like data structures and algorithms, I would say don't use AI. Do it by yourself because building an intuition about code is very important. And once you
Yeah.
do it in any programming language, Python, Java, C++, any one of these major languages, learning new languages becomes easier. Working on new development projects becomes easier. So it's extremely important that you build like this
Got
basic background in coding. Yeah.
got it. So lot of us, like I see my friends around me, my first year juniors around me, see this कि they have this question: what language to start with? किससे start कर? So what is
Yeah.
your suggestion for that?
I think it really depends on the individual. For example, if that individual, let's say, if they are in computer science, right, then I would suggest they can start with C and C++ because it's important to understand pointers and the low-level programming constructs for a computer science engineer. But let's say someone's doing a degree in AI, or someone is in mechanical or chemical engineering and they just want to maybe learn enough coding to be able to use AI models. I think those people, it would be better off for them to start with Python.
Okay.
They don't need to know what goes on under the hood, and they can still get a lot of things done using Python. Especially if just data analysis and AI is your priority, then I think Python is a good language to start with. But if you are really in for learning what goes on under the hood, if you're in for a 4 year computer science degree, then you definitely want to touch upon C and C++.
Got it. And the next big question followed up to that is DSA करे या फिर web development?
Yeah, again, I think that also depends on interest because back in college, I remember that people tried both of these things, and some people just found doing web development more intuitive, they stuck with that, and some people found DSA more intuitive, so they stuck
The
with
thing
that.
is कॉलेज में ना सेकेंड ईयर के बाद से नया नया शौक चढ़ता है पैसे कमाने का. तो all my friends who are into web development started it because they'll get an internship somewhere or they'll do freelancing and earn those
Yeah,
first bucks, you know. So that is how they start web development, and DSA very few of them are doing. But I just don't understand कि DSA or web development, why are these two separate entities? And like DSA, if you're doing for what you should aim for a high package, and if you're aiming for web development, what should you aim for a nice design job role in a company? What are the expectations in दोनों चीजों में?
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of relate with this urge to make some money, and that's definitely a very good feeling. It gives you validation. It also gives you something to write on your resume that you worked as a freelancer somewhere. Definitely, that's a good thing. But at the same time, one must think from a long-term perspective and also focus on DSA, because by the time you're in third year, a lot of companies might be hiring for summer internships, and those summer internships usually are at the big tech companies, big Indian companies as well now, Apple, Flipkart, PhonePe, etc. Right? And then they ask DSA in their interviews, right? A lot of these big tech companies and Indian companies, startups, some startups even. So, and these will pay much more than any web development gig, right? Thinking from a long-term perspective, it's also important to do DSA. Thinking from a perspective of building a strong foundation in computer science for a long-term career in this field, doing DSA is important. And I think web development is just one of these areas or applications of programming where if you're good at DSA, you'll probably be a good web developer as well. But there are just some people, back in college who just never could, no matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't exceed a barrier when it came to DSA. They learned the basics, but beyond a point, they felt that it's not giving them, returns, or it's just hopeless. I think, and then those people were really good with development, and I think that's fine. Also, there was this other kind of person that I saw where they didn't like backend engineering, they did not like DSA, they love design like anything. Some people just have that kind of mindset. They have this intuition for design, and they stay away from everything else. They just focus on front end development, and even those people end up doing quite well in their career. So I think it's all about exploring and seeing where you're getting where things are clicking for you, right? Things are clicking for you naturally. There's no point in like forcing yourself too much to get better at some particular thing. Like, for example, there's a lot of AI hype going around, but you should give your best. But if you feel you're not enjoying it, there are many other areas in computer science that are equally good to explore. And in every one of those areas, you can build a very good career.
Got
If
it.
you
Like, I wanted to ask this question following up this. Ki like AI hype is going on right now everywhere. You can see, you open your YouTube, you watch videos. AI ये कर रहा है, AI वो कर रहा है, AI is able to do all the DSA. Then you ask yourself, why do you even need to learn DSA? Like, मैं जब DSA करने बैठता हूँ, for me it is basically problem solving ना. कि like I'm trying to solve this particular question. First time I fail, next time I learn some things, third time I get it what it is. And when I do this for multiple thousands of set of questions, I get it what it is at the end. While at the same time concept भी सीख रहे हो उसके साथ में. Am I framing it right?
Yeah.
Correct. So this is what DSA essentially is, and I am thinking कि ये आपके decision making में help करता है कि like puzzles, like problem solving की ऐसे situations में तुम आगे क्या decide कर सकते हो, आपकी critical thinking levels बढ़ाएगा ये.
Yeah, and in general also, like especially when you're working as like a software engineer, choosing the most optimal, efficient solution, somewhere those skills really help,
So
to write
I want
code.
to understand. Got it. So I wanted to understand कि like if I am a, let's say, newbie developer जो भी first year का student है, okay. So I wanted to from start to expert level का DSA. How long will it take for me to start DSA from scratch to being an expert, like to solve those tough level के questions? कितना time लग जाएगा इन सब में?
12 to 18 months. If you start from absolute scratch, that is, you don't know what programming is.
12 to 18 months. Okay. So
I mean,
absolute.
that's intelligent people in the world. I have seen people from premier institutes who have reached where I was in much shorter times. So
because they have this problem solving mindset पहले से ही in practice.
Exactly. Like, for example, some of the international examples are like, if you look at IMO medalists, International Math Olympiad, when those people start programming, they pick it up really fast because I think somewhere they had that paradigm set in their brain previously and they're able to reuse it. They also end up doing quite well in code forces and competitive programming in general. They end up even winning medals at ICPC, etc. So yeah.
totally makes sense. Those people are more used to it as well. So if I think, so let's say, like I also wanted to ask you this कि were you clear in your mind कि आपको masters ही करना है going ahead, or were you थोड़ा सा confused कि क्या करना है आगे, क्या करना है आगे?
So masters was always there in the back of my mind since like first year of college, and the more I read about technology in general, I used to keep reading news articles. All the cool stuff apparently is happening in Silicon Valley. So this, wish inside of me was that I really want to go and work in Silicon Valley sometime and get some experience there. I think
Yeah.
that one of the things. And also, I wanted to learn some of the computer science concepts in more depth. But when I was in undergrad, I didn't know which ones were those. So that's why I was like, okay, let's get some experience and figure out what I like. So while I was working at Trilogy, I found that like cloud computing, distributed systems, etc., operating systems, these kind of things are really interesting, and that's what I wanna learn more about. So that helped me apply to the right universities.
Got it. So आपके mind में back of the mind you had this, I want to do masters from
Yeah,
long ago.
yeah.
Got it. So did you feel like so parents के साथ भी आपने clear रखा होगा कि I wanted to do engineering then masters.
They're the ones, I would say they were the ones who really put this idea in my mind in the first place. And
Correct. Parents were the ones, right?
yeah,
Because
I asked most of my friends even back in the US, like most of them are like our parents were really wanting us to go and get education abroad, get this high quality education, etc. For most of them, this is the case. Parents really
yeah.
motivate you to do this. Yeah.
I wanted to double down on this. Like, I want to understand the psyche. Like, I went to a meetup recently जहाँ पे the creators meetup was around how to go to US, how to get a job, and all that sort of stuff as a student. And 99%, like literally 99%, चलो 99 बहुत exaggeration हो गया, 80% बोलते हैं चलो, 80% of the students when I talked to them, they were like, I am doing this because my friends do it. And my parents are telling me to do it, and it would probably look cool for me to go to US because of that lifestyle and all those things. And when I talk to the people who are genuinely there interested, they are like, bro, at the end of the day skills matter. अगर आपके पास skills है so you'll stay. And now recently Trump and all this elections thing is also have happened there कि मतलब the people who don't have skills are not prioritized that much. And also there is वो H1B visa का lottery system where you get a visa or you don't get a visa is all dependent on your luck. It's literally like a lottery system that they
There's
do.
a lot of unpredictability. Once you move to the US, one thing is that there's a lot of unpredictability. You might have to go back to your home country. You might have to relocate to a different state for some internship. You might take some course thinking it's easy, but it ends up being very hard and taking up a lot of your time. So I think one of the very important things was that you gotta embrace that unpredictability and come to terms with it and be fine with it that it's gonna be there. As far as like people's motivation to do masters is concerned, one thing is that if you're struggling to get a job in India, you're gonna struggle there as well. There's no doubt. It's just up to you whether you want to struggle here or you want to struggle there. Yeah.
Got it. और दोनों केसेस में it's up to you कि तुम्हें जॉब चाहिए भी ही नहीं at the end of the day.
Exactly. Well, quite a few people, they have a very different mindset over there. They're like, they want to pursue some entrepreneurial ideas.
That is
Yeah.
that is me.
They want to return back to India and pursue some ideas they have in their mind, etc. Some of them are wanting to get into research, academia. They want to become professors. I have a very good friend who's pursuing a PhD right now. So,
Got it. So bro, like, let's say it's about me, okay? I haven't been particularly into coding because in my mind I'm clear that I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to go into that journey, startups, like the business, startups, all these sort of things. And when I think about it, I also look in the opportunities कि क्या चल रहा है market में, what is actually being big. And then I look at text oriented startups जहाँ पे it's all tech oriented. So co-founder भी tech oriented है, founder भी tech oriented है. It's around tech. So being like a beginner, do I need to if I wanted a career in tech, or let's say I want to make a tech startup and something sort of that sort of thing, uh, should I know the nitty-gritties of tech, like depth में घुस के पूरा ही सीख के फिर करना है startup and all, or else is it just about just do it, find a good co-founder in tech and you do the marketing, ऐसा सब चीजें?
I suppose, one thing you definitely want to explore is product management if you haven't already, because that's that one role that's really important in, startups and even big tech companies, and it does not involve programming. Rather, you are in this position where you're like the CEO of a product. Maybe you're not the CEO of the company, but you're basically the CEO of a product and you have to deal with all the teams, the design team, marketing team, technology team. You're basically the glue that sticks all of them together. Definitely explore that. Maybe you might like it because that is basically tech, but you don't have to code all day. You have to work with coders, you have to work with designers, you have to work with people in marketing, people in sales, you have to work with upper management, etc.
Got it. So given enough time, anyone would be able to understand the language of tech की ये क्या server से connect कर रहे हो, database and all this, like it's like a terminology ना coding के लिए अलग से जो use होता है. Everyone
Yeah,
would be able to learn.
yeah. I would say maybe consider building a few full stack projects to see how end to end how things are connected. Like, when someone, opens an app, how the requests are going all the way to the backend, from the backend to the database, things are getting updated, etc., etc. Everything happening. If you see things end to end, maybe that would be beneficial. Definitely some level of programming experience would definitely help any product manager, and a lot of product managers are actually former software engineers, so definitely explore that. I would say try speaking with a few product managers to get more insights on how you can grow in that direction.
Got it. So one new thing that I learned right now is product management is a kind of role that I might be interested in, क्योंकि मुझे बनाना भी है in terms of customers और मुझे ज़्यादा coding भी नहीं करना में भी.
And then the thing is that, moving from a PM role, if you spend a few years there, moving from that to a co-founder role, I think it's definitely possible. It's feasible. Like, you could then be like the non-technical co-founder at a startup where you focus more on the communication and marketing side of things, and you have a technical co-founder who actually who is actually the CTO and focuses on the actual building the actual app and everything.
Got it. Okay, so now like I'm clear with coding wala part. So if I want to do coding, I could be a good product manager maybe. So I could go in that path. But let's come back to masters. चलो, right now I'm a third year student, right? अभी let's say I want to do masters. पहले तो let's say I want a job in US. मुझे सैन फ्रांसिस्को US में जॉब चाहिए क्योंकि I am seeing कि वहाँ पे it is a Silicon Valley of USA. It is having all the headquarters of Apple, Microsoft, जो भी Facebook जो भी है. All the great things that are happening in this world are happening over there. So I wanted to know कि like how is the lifestyle वहाँ पे, cost of living क्या होता है? As a student आप पहले वहाँ जाना चाहिए कि नहीं? Or else you should do something similar like दूसरे states वहाँ पे. Like how is this whole thing? Masters का journey.
Yeah, that's a lot of things to unpack in one go. I think we'll go step by step. One thing is whether to go for a master's or not, and if yes, then when. Again, let's say if you were to do a master's, you would probably not do a MSCS. You would probably pursue an MIS degree, Masters of Information Systems. That's a degree that people take to become product managers. The thing with doing a master's in the US is that the job market is unpredictable. Layoffs are very real and very true. You might get laid off at any point in time, and then you might have a limited amount of time to search for a job. And if you don't get a job, you might have to return. So you have to keep that in mind when you decide to pursue a master's. Most of the people, what they end up doing is they complete their master's and they just work at a job, because your visa is basically attached to a job, right? You need to work somewhere in order to stay there, right? So, and you have entrepreneurial aspirations, then there is a route for that as well. If you go to the US, you have a startup idea and you receive a substantial amount of funding, there is a different visa route for that as well. But in that case, your startup idea has to be really good for people to actually invest in that. But you would consider doing a master's in a university that's located close by to in the in Silicon Valley. There are few universities in that region. could consider pursuing a degree there so that you can tap into the network over there. But if you want to take a slightly more safe or conservative approach, I would say go to Bangalore first. Go to the Silicon Valley of India first. See what that has to offer.
Got
Learn
it.
some things, learn some core skills that will be valued, and then go there. You will find it easier to get interviews, get a job, etc. And you might also actually know what you really want from a master's degree.
Got it. So you mentioned NIS and MIS, these sort of two things in masters.
MSCS and then the MIS. Yeah.
MSCS. So what is MSCS in particular? ये किसके लिए होता
Right.
है?
The typical master's in computer science degree that most people end up taking. That's like a proper technical course. You go through all the proper programming topics, deep into computer science, database systems, AI. You have freedom in taking what courses you want. So yeah, but it's like proper computer science, like technical stuff. But then MIS, on the other hand, this is like a degree for those who want to get into tech, but their bachelor's wasn't in computer science, and they don't have much programming experience.
Got
So people also end up taking that, and usually the kind of roles they go for after that is data analysts, data scientists, and product managers as well. A lot of them
Did
get
you
into
do
the
this thing as well? यही चीज आपने किया था?
what?
Did you take up this MIS?
Yeah, I took the MSCS one.
Got it. So you are more into the software engineering oriented roles only.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And if I were to take the other one,
To take the other one, your coursework would look slightly different. You wouldn't have very deep technical topics. It would be focused more around, like, let's say, Python, data science, basic AI stuff, and then also probably some courses related to managing projects, managing people, etc. Some sort of, managerial aspect as well.
got it. Got it. So brother, tell me the reality यहाँ पे. We've been through engineering college. You have been through engineering colleges. You know कैसे होती है
Yeah,
पढ़ाई. Now
yeah,
tell
I know.
me how much similar the master's engineering studies is to the Indian current BTech scenario. Is it that same one day batting? One day batting आप जानते हो क्या होता है?
No, definitely we don't have that one day stuff here. That's kind of a nice thing. Your grade in most courses is decided based on assignments, class participation, and also in some courses do have a final exam. But then if you score less in the final exam, doesn't mean that they're going to fail you for the entire class. In fact, they are at least my university is quite, or I would say more precisely, my department is quite liberal when it comes towards final exams. Like my professor was like, if there's any emergency or if you fall ill, don't come to the exam. We'll figure something out. I'll give you another exam which you can take. Right. So it's definitely that scenario isn't there where, like if you don't study one day before the exam, something will go
So
wrong.
it's purely performance oriented exam कि कितना तुम अच्छा कर सकते हो उसमें.
Yeah, and it's very conceptual as well. Like I definitely there's no rote learning involved. I gave exams for two of my courses, for this quarter, and I was allowed to take a cheat sheet in both of those papers. So there was like no rote learning involved. It's all
Open
about
book exam.
in the class. If you did your assignments, you won't have a problem with the final exam either. In Indian engineering colleges, it's like if you don't go to the classes as well for several weeks, it doesn't matter because you just have to cram everything few weeks before the exam and give the exam. But here in masters, attending every class becomes important. Like you shouldn't be missing classes because if you start missing, then it's gonna start affecting your grade.
Got it. Which college did you go to by the way?
Undergrad or masters?
Masters.
Master, University of California, San Diego.
San Diego. Got it. You know what? Funny story. Podcast से पहले I thought San Francisco and San Diego were both the same, and now I searched in the maps San Diego and San Francisco.
Yeah,
बहुत
yeah,
बहुत
they're
लंबा
different
distance.
cities. Not very close by, but different cities. Yeah.
Got it. So okay. So this is an interesting question. Tell me, brother, ki what does a regular engineering student don't know about reality of masters? So your younger self, what are those things that he doesn't know about masters, and those things that are mind blowing to you back then?
Yeah. So I would say I kind of knew about the exams are conducted and like you can take a cheat sheet. Coursework also I used to Google it. I used to see what they learn, what are the assignments looking like, etc. What I didn't expect is more on the personal side. Like, what I had in mind. Okay, I'm going to do masters. I'm going to sit with really smart people. I'm going to work on awesome projects. I'm going to learn a lot from my amazing and very smart peers. And that is true. I got to work with a lot of smart peers and everything, and professors who were very, very knowledgeable. Every time they come to the class, they end up giving us so many insights and everything that was there. But what I absolutely didn't anticipate is the what to say, things not related to coursework but related to moving to the US that I didn't think about. I just ended up going there and figuring it out. Like having to manage your house by yourself, cooking by yourself, cleaning, getting groceries, dealing with various kinds of people. Because there are a lot of new people there in grads. Like there are, like, apart from classes, there are a lot of events on campus where you meet people from different parts of India, different parts of the world, have conversations with them. Some things that you might say might appear very offensive to them, so you have to be careful. Some things that they might say might appear very surprising to you. So it's a kind of interesting, those kind of things. And then these kind of culture shock, I would say, these kind of things I didn't prepare myself about, and nobody can. That's like a one-time experience. You gotta go there to experience it.
Yeah, and the smile says it all. Like, how are those? Yeah, how are the youngsters in US different from us Indians?
Well,
No answer.
one thing I think one thing is that most of them are very physically fit. It seems that they go to the gym from like very early on, maybe even their teenage years. So a lot of them seem to be very physically fit. That's one thing. Very fluent English, which is obvious. It's their
Yeah.
like it's their native language. And like I think one thing where Indian students kind of lack is that their communication skills are really good, and spending time with them would really help improve that for Indian students. Because and it's very important, like apart from technical skills, how you communicate and understand people in the organization, it becomes more and more important as you grow in your software engineer career. How much convincing power you have over other teams becomes kind of important. Like, can you push the project in a particular direction? Can you get all the stakeholders aligned on a particular direction? These kind of things become super important. So definitely that's something we can learn.
So were you a confident extrovert kind of a student from the beginning, or else you are an introvert kind of a student?
Definitely, I would say my social skills improved after I moved to the US, because, after graduation, I worked remotely for 2 years, and so most of the time spent at home, and I was mostly an introvert, so I never used to go out of the way to meet friends or anything when I was here working remotely. So after moving there, I think the situation forced me to be a bit more outward, speak up, etc. So I think even at least for myself, my communication and social skills improved. Yeah.
Got it. So if someone is an introvert in India and he wants to do masters in US, so it's all about a journey that he has to go through from this introverted shell to वहाँ पे जाके थोड़ा socialize.
Yeah, definitely. It's very important.
Does being an extrovert or an introvert, or in some certain situations, it help you to get that extra benefit? या प्रोफेसर से जाके आप बात कर सकते हो, you might reach out and ask a girl out, whatever.
Yeah, I think definitely. If you speak to professors, go to their office hours. There's this concept of office hours. So if you go there, if you can go and talk about anything, any doubts you have related to the subject or related to the class assignments, etc. So and that's a place where you can connect with the professor one to one. And if they see you're a really good student, they might take you on for some research collaboration, which might be unpaid in the start, but maybe few months down the line, it could end up becoming a paid opportunity where a part of your fees or your entire fees is covered. Or you might end up, if you do very well in their course and you're in touch with the professor, they might want to give you a teaching assistantship for their future courses related to the same subject. So that also cuts off a part of your entire fees. So definitely, like, if you are willing to put yourself out there and speak up, like like in US, nobody's gonna give you anything unless you ask for it. It's like that. Like in India, it's like on campus placements. Even if you're an introvert, you fill the form, somebody will interview you. But over there, it's all about reaching out, right? It's all about applying by yourself, and you gotta ask for what you want. Basically, nobody's gonna give it to you directly. So definitely being outward, being an extrovert will help. But along with that, you gotta put in the hard work. Definitely, yeah.
Got it. So right now, have you completed your masters totally?
No, so it's just 1 quarter, right? I have a few more quarters before my master's would complete.
How many
It's like
quarters are left still?
it's flexible, so you can take between 4 to 6 quarters.
Acha, so it's like 3 quarters a year, maybe.
4 quarter, yeah, 3 quarters a year because you have the summer quarter in which there are no classes. So yeah, in a year you can take like 3 quarters in which you take actual courses. But even the degree itself starts in the month of September, so it's like that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so bro, the name of this podcast is the Freedom Stories. So what my idea is around freedom is that you got to be financially free, you got to be mentally free. In your life, in general, a person has to be financially, family wise, health wise, ये सब free होना चाहिए. And freedom for me is more around कि मतलब you are owning your life and you are not regretting your decisions and you're living what you want to live basically.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah.
so right now you're about to complete your masters in US and most probably you're going to take up a job in US and stay there. So like, what do you see your ideal dream life when it comes to future vision ऐसा कुछ कि आगे क्या होगा ऐसे?
Yeah, so basically, it's like depending on the market scenario, I may or may not get a full time role in the US. So, in the back of my mind, I always have this backup that if things don't work out, I'd come back to India. I'd just go to Bangalore because that's a place to be if you're in tech. That's a place to be. Even if you get a remote job, I think it makes sense to be there in that city because the people and the network will really help you grow in tech in that city. And let's say if things do work out well, I am hoping that like I can get a role in the Silicon Valley area because it's always been a dream to work there. And again, the same thing applies there, the network there and all the new ideas that are discussed. It happens, it seems that all the new ideas that happen in tech, whether it's crypto or AI, that's the place where it's discussed first.
Yeah.
That's where people hear about it first. And if you are early on something and if you invest in it, whether through your own time or whether through your money as an investor, you can get much higher returns. Like I've heard some stories where, when people in the Silicon Valley area heard about Bitcoin much earlier than the rest of the world did, and those who invested in those early times, they are very rich today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so these kind of things, and then all the amazing innovations, happening over there, that kind of motivates me to go and work there and try to absorb what that place has to offer, basically. So basically, getting a software engineer role there would be really awesome for the next stage in my career, I think.
Got it. So currently I'm engineering कर रहा हूँ and at the same time I'm also having a video editing agency where I work with clients with the video editing part and soon it's going to be more about social media management as well. So I'm also targeting like focusing on working with more San Francisco oriented clients क्योंकि मुझे जानना है in general कि how these clients work in general, what value I can add from here. Do I only need to have a like if only I have a software job, I can be at a place like Silicon Valley, or else I can be a video editor or let's say a graphic designer and still go to Silicon Valley without any degree, without any intent of degree. Can I still go to US and just stay there after getting a job like पहले ही connections के साथ में? Can that be possible?
Yeah, definitely. But it's a lot much harder to convince an employer to employ you, when there are so many eligible candidates there. One thing is you could have clients in the US and you could visit them maybe on some sort of business visa. And I'm not too sure about what kind of visa is that, but it's definitely feasible. And I think when it comes to finding clients abroad, I think it's all about that first client. If you get that one client, he's going to refer you to others, and yeah, that's very important.
I'm pretty much sure I definitely get clients from US, but the thing is, I also want to go there and learn how that place feels like. Oh, San Francisco, the Silicon Valley. And I think the first step I can do right now is go to Bangalore and experience it in India first, and also think about Silicon Valley, those
Yeah.
sort of things.
Yeah, have like a startup idea, and if you find investors from Silicon Valley willing to invest in it, there's a totally separate visa process that goes on for them, and they just have a very different process of staying there. And like there have been like there's this thing you might have heard of, Y Combinator, right?
Yes.
I mean, founders from around the world apply to the Y Combinator startup school, and if they get selected, they go there, they stay there for the startup school, and then depending on the business, depending on the type of business, they return back to their home country, or they stay back in Silicon Valley, build an office there, etc. So that's an alternate route that people can take to move to
But you
the.
know the qualification criteria for it is like very strict. It's only two people who have qualified from India in the Y Combinator.
Yeah, definitely. It's much harder. Definitely, I agree. I agree. I mean, but not only Y Combinator, right? That's just one example. The thing is, like in general, if you have a very valuable business idea, I think in general the way United States is, right, have something that can make a lot of money. That country will always welcome you, no matter which government is there, and etc.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this question. So you are like a 25-year-old in US, and you also are as aspirational as we all are, like thinking big in life. When you see the people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these people like stay in that country, right? Like they create a whole different level of value impact. Have you had any real life experiences of meeting founders of such or else these companies में जो बड़े बड़े positions पे हैं?
I mean, definitely, I have met a few founders, but definitely not like some $1 billion valuation startup kind of founders. I've met at tech events in India mostly. I've met founders. A very good friend of mine who is a founder of a small tech company. They do web development, etc. I've met a few back here, and I think I was just so busy with the coursework, I didn't get a chance to attend much tech events in back in San Diego. There weren't many there, but the thing about now that's the thing about Silicon Valley or even Bangalore. You can go to meetup.org and you see there's some sort of event, some sort of social event related to tech every weekend, and you can go there, you can network with founders, etc. So yeah, that's always there. Yeah.
Got it. So I'm sure in future you will be having the contacts.
Yeah. I think the founders think very differently. I think the young founders, especially, they think very differently. I think the older founders are a bit more like, oh yeah, I've worked for 15 years in the industry. I know how things work, and I'm focusing on some niche thing, etc. And because of their background, I don't know, they might do things differently. But the young founders are a bit, what to say, they're a bit like they just think differently. It's almost like they're delusional, but then it's their delusion that helps them, get through those tough times.
Sure.
So,
If it works for you, works for
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you. Got it. So going forward, are you planning to stay back in US for the rest of your life, or else
Not really. Mainly, I wanted
maybe
to do
you
like.
can get a great job after working in Silicon Valley, as you said. Maybe you will you stay there if you get a great opportunity?
I mean, like I have kept that part of my life open. Like it's not like written in stone that I have to stay there forever, right? And the visa situation isn't the best. Like the H-1B lottery system and everything, it's not the most conducive for you to stay there forever, right? A lot of people do return. They work maybe for a few years, and then they take like a international transfer to some European office or to the Indian office. They work there, or they come back. Some people come back to India, and because they have made so much money in US dollars, they have some time to explore some new ideas, possibly some entrepreneurial ideas, and end up doing a startup. So there are a lot of options after masters, and I think I've kept all of them open for myself. I'm just exploring right now. I think, yeah.
Got it. So my friends, all my friends, now
Yeah.
my friends are going to watch this podcast. I have a roommate. He is about to do masters. He's also in the same roadmap that you are following, the cloud computing and those sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I would ask you, Like, what advice would you give for these students, those who want masters for the lifestyle for US, catch chamak dhamak, and all those things?
I mean, if you're only going for the lifestyle and everything, make sure that, I mean, if you're very rich, you can do that. You just go there for 2 years, enjoy, and come back. That's fine. But if not, then if you're not super rich, then and if you're only going for like some lifestyle change, then you might get disappointed because the reality is that you have to apply to like hundreds of jobs. You have to take so many referrals and you might still not hear back for several weeks. And suddenly, one company will send you an online assessment. That online assessment, then after that, you may or may not get an interview. Then you give the interview, then you don't know whether you will get the offer or not.
Yeah.
And the offer now, you don't know if it's going to be revoked or not. Then you get the offer and you join. Now you don't know whether you're going to get the PPO or not.
Yes.
So there are so many uncertainties. They have to be ready to face those as well. So if they are willing to work hard, then it's great. And I think what I said previously holds true. If you are struggling in India, you're going to struggle there as well.
Yeah.
You might even struggle much more over there. That's also possible. So
Yeah, those things they have to keep in mind.
yeah, don't have unrealistic expectations that all your life problems will be solved if you just move to another country. That's just false. Yeah.
Got it. So also I had this question ki USA matlab the best universities if you want to go, like Stanford, Harvard, all these big names that you can listen. So if you're like a middle class guy who wants to go to US, should you aim for Harvard, Stanford, and all these big universities, or should you go for like the other universities that you have, the other options?
I mean, it really depends on your background as well. If you are like a gold medalist, you have an extremely stellar profile, then you actually have a chance at a school like Stanford, right? All your metrics and all your experiences are really, really amazing. For example, and this is not the only profile that gets into Stanford, but for example, someone from one of the top 5 IITs in CSE with a very high GPA, probably some good research papers, etc., maybe working for a year or two at a very good company, and
And
then
an NGO.
very good, yeah, not necessarily NGO. That's not that important nowadays. That's more for undergrad. For them, they see like, have you done like volunteer work or not? Master's level, it's a little less prominent, almost zero, I would say. So like these kind of things, and then very good GRE, very good TOEFL, everything just stellar.
What is a very good GRE and TOEFL? Like, what is a good rank and score that you have to have?
I mean, it depends on the kind of university. Many universities at this point, I'm talking about GRE first. Many universities have made the GRE optional. Some universities have stopped accepting it because they felt that after the COVID lockdown, they felt that a GRE isn't that important and they can still admit really good candidates without it. TOEFL is more like this cutoff kind of thing where you have to score beyond a certain mark. It's basically English proficiency test. So they want to see if you can speak basic English, read and write basic English. So like TOEFL is out of 120, I think. So most universities have that cutoff at either 90 or 100.
Got it. So
yeah.
on what basis do they select the students?
It's holistic. It's your statements of purpose, letters of recommendation, your background, your like what kind of things you have worked on in your undergrad and experience, how well it aligns with what they are looking for, your GPA, etc. There are a lot of factors, but honestly, most universities, right? They look at your GPA. If it's 9+, you're in a good spot.
College ka GPA.
Yeah, if you're 9+, you're in a good spot. Yeah.
Got it. So if you were to so which university are you studying in? I forgot the name.
University of California, San Diego.
University of California, San Diego. In the scale of like 1 to 10, how much would you rate this university as compared to all colleges in USA?
It would be like a 9 or something, I think, because
Damn, a 9.
yeah, because it's like one of the top. Some rankings put it in top 10, some put it in top 20, and then all universities in that range are pretty good. I think the one thing is that the location is in San Diego and not Silicon Valley. Like Stanford is in the heart of Silicon Valley, so they get that advantage. But yeah,
how is the cost of living over there? Is it very expensive or is affordable?
Definitely, it's expensive. Like apart from your tuition, you should expect to spend anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500 per month for living expenses. It
80
depends
to
where you live.
80,000 to 1 lakh 20, 30,000 per month just for expenses as a student.
So like $1,500 is like how much?
1500, yeah, it's 130,000, 1 lakh 30,000, yes, pass. So if you are, do you do any part-time kind of stuff to manage expenses?
Yeah, a few people have taken up part time to cover their living expenses, and the good thing is that big universities might have some part times that will involve programming. So one of my friends does this part time job where he works on AI related projects. So that's pretty cool. So that way you're learning something, you're putting something on your resume, and you're also getting paid because like your classes are only like 3 days a week. Rest of the days you're free. It's possible to do some on-campus work and cover your living expenses. And the best case scenario is you get something related to your degree. Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Got it. So, what do you say? What do you say? Will I get a good college if I apply for masters in USA as my parents want me to?
Yeah, I mean it depends on your profile. What's your GPA? What's your how well you write your statements of
Okay,
purpose?
my GPA currently is around averaging around 8.1, 8.2 ish.
So then you will have to select your universities also based on your GPA. You're in computer science or some other branch?
Yeah, CSE AM.
Okay. So at least that's not an issue. Otherwise, there are a lot of universities who won't get admission in MSCS just because your degree isn't in computer science. But anyways, most likely you would be going for an MIS degree, so your prior experience or prior degree wouldn't matter. It could be mechanical as well for all.
Got it. So if I were to go to a degree in USA with this current, let's say I'll manage to get 8.5 average.
Increase your GPA as much as you can.
Okay, let's say I have managed to get a GPA around 8.5, at least 8.5. Chalo.
Yeah,
I'm not
maybe
a Padaku student in college.
yeah, maybe you would avoid applying to the
Masters.
top 10 universities. You would
Okay,
apply.
so I should even pay for applying, right? यहाँ पे universities के लिए.
Yeah, that's an additional expense. So you can't just.
On average कितना 20-30 हजार तो लग ही जाता होगा for every application.
Yeah, it's around $100 on an average. For most universities, it's 100. For a few, it's 150. So yeah, people usually apply to like universities, and based on your GPA, you have to pick, and your overall profile, you have to pick like universities divided into ambitious, moderate, and safe.
Got it. What is that ambitious, moderate, and safe? Like I'm ambitious.
Ambitious is like based on your profile. Ambitious is like if you get it, it's like exceptional, and you take it. Closed eyes, you would take that, admit, and go for it. Moderate is like it's like most likely you will get it, but there's always this chance that you might not get it. That's why there are like let's say four to five universities in your moderate list, so that at least one of those you get an admit. Then safe is like you'll definitely get an admit because maybe those universities have a very large intake or something.
Which university did you get? Your ambitious or is the moderate or the safer one for you?
I think I got in the ambitious. I considered UC San Diego to be ambitious.
Great.
There were a few more which I considered ambitious, like Columbia and Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And I reject from both of them. Moderate also, I was surprised to see quite a few rejects. But that's how admissions process is. It's really non-deterministic. Like, some people are like, even if they have a low GPA, they still apply to Stanford. They're like, you never know. And that's true. If they find other parts of your profile very convincing, if something is very exceptional about you, by all means, you are supposed to apply to even the top 10 universities.
Got it. So
I preferred a more realistic approach.
got it. So you got your ambitious wala thing.
Yeah.
And you've scaled it 9 out of 10. That means it is a really, really great college to go to.
No, I mean, I personally, for my own purposes, I found it to be 9 out of 10, at least what I want to
You have
learn.
your Indian friends around it?
What?
Indian friends around it in your campus, do you have?
Yeah, so the interesting thing is that in masters, right, most of the students will either be from China or from India. Everywhere you see, you will either see someone from China or from India. It's very rare that in masters you see like someone from a different country. Yeah, and especially in computer science, Indians and Chinese are dominating the class strength. Maybe definitely in other fields like mechanical, chemical, there are people from other countries, but this IT field is just
Dominated
massive,
by
saturated with people from our country. So it's kind of nice. Like it was, easy to find friends and roommates because of that.
Got it. So, what was your CGPA again that you finally had?
It was 9.5.
9.5. And you did from Pune College, right?
Yeah. So PICT Pune. So that was affiliated to the University of Pune.
Got it. One of my cousins wanted to go to US, and her CGPAs might be around 9, 8.7 to 9, sort of, and she's from a great college, like COPE, I guess, COEP of Pune.
Yes, COEP is one of the top colleges in that region. Yeah.
Yeah. So would she have a great opportunity, like great chance of going to US in a great
Definitely,
college?
right. She should apply, and if try to keep the GPA as high as possible, because that's one of the the primary things
But the
based
thing
on
is,
it.
she's from the ECE branch. She's not from the CSE core.
Yeah, then it'll be a little difficult to apply for like computer science courses. There are some universities that outright reject any students who don't have a prior computer science degree. So she'll have to check which universities are open to all other branches and pick accordingly. I mean, in UC San Diego, I see very few exceptions who are in the CS department but who do not have like a bachelor's in computer science.
Got it. So if you want to go with ECE degree in USA, best
It's much
colleges.
easier. It's much easier, and at this point in time, I think even they might find it easier to find a job. Although I'm not sure.
Could she get in like a Columbia level ka university in ECE?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on her overall profile and everything as well. Also, one more thing is that like UC San Diego has a department of data science that is separate from the department of computer science, and they are more open to accepting people from different undergrad branches. So if she applies to masters in data science, there are quite a few universities having that. That's also a good option. But for that, she has to be interested in pursuing the data science/AI domain. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that was the whole podcast. Do you have like any questions for me or for the audience, or any suggestions that you wanted to give?
Yeah, I think my only suggestion is that persistence is key. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to persist to go and be an extrovert in USA for sure.
Yeah. You gotta fight every day. Yeah.
Yeah, you really feel that like after a point, doesn't it get easier? Yeah, वहाँ पे भी after a point.
Definitely. Anything gets easier over time. Right? As you might miss your home back in India, etc. But the human brain is very adaptable to new environments, and over time it gets used to wherever you put it, whatever environment you put it in. So yeah.
Got it, brother. So that was the whole podcast. I hope I'll tell you my experience, right? I was able to navigate from not having any idea about masters की क्या होगा मेरा to getting a clarity की नहीं होगा मेरा. I mean, like, I as a profile might not be that great if you wanted to go for ambitious university that I
I
want.
mean, not at this point. You can always build yourself.
Yeah, I can always build myself. And is age a factor over there? Because after college also, even if I spend 2 years doing my own stuff and then I realize, oh, abhi to chalo masters karna hai, and then I spend a year.
One interesting thing is that you might feel a bit more tired as compared to your younger counterparts. Like that happened to me in the first week. Those guys were so energetic and jumping around, joking around, and I'm like, dude, my back is aching. I'm sleepy. I need to take some rest. So that thing was there, I think. But apart from that, it doesn't matter. There are people.
Those people are 21 साल के बच्चे हैं अभी भी 21-20 साल के बच्चे.
Exactly. They can sleep for like 4 hours and still go about their day without much effect.
अच्छा.
It's not like, yeah, I need 8 hours of sleep now.
That thing I didn't consider. एज गैप भी होगा यार, फिर तो relevant ही नहीं रहेंगे वहाँ के अपने conversations तो.
Exactly. So definitely, but it's a very minor thing. Like I mean, I don't even feel it now at this point. That age difference and all, it doesn't matter that much. And like even from degree point of view or from any job application point of view, your age does not matter in any way. Like, see, with age you might bring experience on your resume, which might make things easier for you, but that's a different issue. Just being old in the master's experience isn't going to matter. I've seen people 1 or 2 years, and in one case even 3 years older than me, and it's all good. It's like once you're there, right? There's not much difference whether this person is a fresher or this person had experience. We're all the same. We all consider each other batchmates. Yeah.
Did you face any racism kind of experiences over there? Anytime?
No, nothing very explicit. Like, I mean, no, not really. I think where I live, it's a very nice place, San Diego and everything. There might be other parts in the United States where I've heard rumors that the racism thing might be like you might face it somewhere, maybe in public transport or something. But I found it very peaceful where I've lived. And there's so many people from different parts of the world living there. Like, so it's fine.
It's mostly friendly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everyone's very helpful in general. But here's the thing. I mean, I didn't go out in the streets at night 9 p.m. Right? I always got back before it got dark.
Yeah.
There might be people who went after the dark and they might have had a different experience. I stayed away from it. So yeah.
Got it. So yes, brother, that was the whole podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Like being asked all these questions.
Yeah,
How did you feel?
definitely. It was fun. It was a walk down the memory lane. So it was fun, man. I really liked it. Thank you for having me.
It was fun, right? Like you got to rethink what are the decisions you took in your life, and I'm very
Definitely.
sure this conversation will help a lot of students because मेरे जैसे silly questions तो सबके ही होता है ये एज में, like ये third year
Yes.
students पे.
होता ही है. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very
Yes,
sure कि
you should speak up. Like you shouldn't feel that these questions are dumb. You should definitely ask your seniors. It's very important. Like even when I was in first year, I was very lucky to find a few seniors who were in final year at that
Yes.
time. And the insights that they gave to me, about the entire bachelor's was very invaluable to me. Yeah.
Got it. And I enjoyed the conversation because for me it was like a young student to a senior. Like senior से बात कर रहा हूँ मैं, understanding कि क्या दुनिया है वो masters की. And let's see, मेरे पास थोड़े points है US ना जाने के to tell my parents.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I would say don't rush into it. Definitely explore what India has to offer you. I mean, even I went after like 2 years of experience, so definitely don't rush it.
That makes me.
Very big investment, monetary investment. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. Man badal jaye and I become the next Sundar Pichai of you don't know Google and all. So
Exactly.
anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. Like, love the conversation. I hope you loved it as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, bro. Thanks for joining, bro. Thank you. Okay, here we go. That was the first episode of our Freedom Stories podcast. Honestly, I was not really sure to start a podcast or not, but I still did it anyways because I love this format. Podcasting is something that I listen all the time while writing my assignments in college, while I'm not working, traveling. I listen podcasts all the time, and I knew that whenever I start my own podcast, I love it because I like speaking to people, understanding their point of views, and comparing the ground reality as compared to mine, and thinking all those stuff, and you understand and you change your behavior according to the learnings that you have. I just love this process, and my effort would be to bring the best guests possible that I can have access to, and to speak with them for a while and to understand their point of views and to really understand what is freedom for them, because as this podcast is named as the Freedom Stories is because I want to understand how does a person think about his own life. Does he feel happy, sad about all the things that he does? Does he really feel that his life is in like a freedom oriented way, or else does he feel stuck even after achieving all the success that he has done in his field? There are a lot of questions that I always get in my mind whenever I see people like these, and I would like to know what you felt about this podcast as a listener. Did you find it interesting? Did you find it boring? Just comment it down below, and also tell me where I can improve from the next podcast so that I keep improving and I can bring the best conversations to you as well. And also do share this podcast to your friends that you know will gain a lot of value by listening to this podcast. And at the same time, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do subscribe it right now because amazing content is on the way. Honestly, this is what I really love, having honest conversations with people, and I feel this is a skill that I've developed over the years, and through this skill I get access to the best minds, and I'm going to constantly improve the skill. I'm going to share this knowledge with you as well. So do subscribe it if you haven't already. So see you in the next podcast. Thanks for watching.